Welcome to another episode of Rewind the Times, man. I hope everybody's having a great night tonight. Man, it's been pretty cold on this East Coast over here, especially in Rhode Island. Man, I've been absolutely freezing. Um, man, so far so good. Everything's going with the house. So everybody, I appreciate all the prayers being sent. There's a lot of process going to this. I'm doing all the application right now, the pre-qualified application to get the mortgage, and so I feel good about everything. So I appreciate the prayers being sent, and hopefully at the end of this, we get the house. Oh, I'm excited but nervous. I wish I could fast forward like months in advance and see where I'm gonna be. But one thing that but the reason I came on today is I want to talk about, like I said, this year is going to be different. My channel, I want to focus on three main things. The first thing I wanted to focus on is obviously my love for the New Orleans Saints. I will become up with a segment called NBTS. It's called Nothing But the Saints. Pretty much where I talk about all the New Orleans Saints, football, the schedules, any news. The off season's coming, so I'm going to be talking about a lot about that. I am part of the Who Dat family, which is a big fan base down from New Orleans. I'm known as the Who Dat Warlord, so there's like a special hat that I wear. So I will definitely be talking about that, but that'll be separate from my channel. So that'll be like a segment that I talk about once or twice a week, maybe more, depending on how much Saints news there is. But the other two things that I want to talk about are horror movies. I'm gonna be reviewing slasher horror movies of all the years, like 81, 82, 80s horror, 90s horror, modern day horrors, all horror movies. And then I want to be talking about my toy collection. So today I came on today because I want to talk about something, a movie series that I absolutely love. So far, I know they've made 7 movies. I haven't seen the 7th one yet, but I kind of figured, I kind of knew what would happen just because of people talking about it and stuff. And that movie is Tremors. Tremors is an awesome movie, man. This right here is the steel book. I got the first 6 movies on here. Tremors is a movie that came out in 1990. It stars Fred Ward as Earl Bassett and Kevin Bacon as Valentine McKee. And when this movie came out, it didn't do very good in the theaters. It's like a comedy horror. I don't even remember it being in the theaters too long. In 1990, I do remember seeing the trailer for it, but I don't remember it being doing really big. And then all of a sudden, see, when I was young, my grandfather, he is my grandfather. He's my grandfather. My stepfather, it's his father. His name is Joe. He used to live down at this elderly home, and he used to do security there. He lived there, but he was also the security guy there. And what he would do is he would get in all movies, and he would record movies on VHS, and he would give us, blank tape with 3 movies on it, and he always got all the newest big movies from Blockbuster or Major Video. Back in the day, before you could all these apps and all this stuff at your fingertips. Back in the day, anyone that's from my generation, 80s and 90s, which I miss so much, physical media. That's why physical media is so important to me. We'd have video stores, and they were a big deal, man. They were a huge deal. They were lots of fun. I miss them to this day. I believe there may be just a few open. I think there's a Blockbuster open in Alaska or maybe Oregon. But man, it was a big deal. I'm gonna do a special just on video stores. Rental video stores, man, sometime in the future, because that is something that I really miss. I wish I had a lot of money to invest, because video superstores were a big thing back in the 80s, late 80s, definitely in the 90s. Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights, having your mom or your dad drop you off at the local Blockbuster to go in. And back in the day, man, I know I can talk about this a lot. When I used to rent movies, if I didn't know if I didn't know clearly what the movie was, I would rent it based on the cover. So some of these movies that we've seen over the years, I mean, whether they're a good B-level movie or not, if the cover of the movie was awesome, then most likely I rented the movie. And it's kind of like what you got, buy. It's kind of like whenever you bought it, it's kind of like what you bought is what you get. and you got to deal with it for the next couple of days. And Tremors was kind of like along that line. My grandfather, he let us he made a bunch of VHS movies, and he gave them to my stepfather. And we went home on a on a Thursday night. I'm sorry, on a Friday night. We went over and we visited him, and he gave us some movies, and we were watching it. And the movie kind of came when he recorded it, because back in the day, when you recorded VHS movies from other movies, you know, you had like a scrambler where you connect two VCRs together, and it kind of came out blurry. So we ended up going to Blockbuster to rent this. And the cover it was pretty cool, man. The cover of it was not so much like this, but it had like Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, and the main actress in the movie called her name. She played a character named Rhonda. It had like a Tremors mouth coming up through the bottom. And you know, we seen a little bit of the movie from with my grandfather Joe recording it. But so we went to the movie, went to Blockbuster, and there it was. It was like 10 copies. And you know, back in the day, you know, it'd have like the cover, it'd have like the movie, and then behind it would be the actual movie you had to get. So this would be the case, you know, and then behind it would be the VHS, and you had if there was a VHS behind it, that's how you knew that the movie was in. It was pretty cool, man. I can't even tell you how many times I'd be sitting outside waiting for someone to walk in, put them in the drop shoot, and oh, is that my movie? You know, did you bring so and so back? You know what I mean? Because you wanted you'd wait all day to get that movie and have it for 3 days. You know, oh man, the struggles of trying to find the movie you really want it. Where nowadays it's like it's snap of your fingers, it's right there. But I enjoyed that hunt. Like I said, that'll be for a later video. I'm actually kind of excited talking about that. But anyways, we rented Tremors, and maybe we were blown away by how good this movie was. How it had such a good mixture of horror and comedy, and the storyline was really good. I think what carried the story was I love the town of Perfection. It was a very small town. I remember, if I'm correct, I think on the town sign it said population like 15 people. I mean, it really wasn't a big town, and it had and the characters that were written for this movie were really good characters, especially Earl and Val. They're the two main characters. I mean, you know, one thing I love about them is they're not superheroes. They're just your average Joes, just literally your average handyman that do pretty much all the brunt work in that town, and their job is to kind of save the town and save people from these worms. They're called Graboids. It's like a worm. When it opens up its mouth, it's got like 3 snakes that come out, and the snakes grab you and they pull you in. And Geeky Jersey, by the way, guys, did an amazing jersey with the Graboids on it. I was able to get one. I'll show it to you in a future video if I haven't already showed it to you. Geeky Jersey, by the way, they make amazing jerseys. And the movie was just awesome. I mean, the movie was just so good that I know that in theaters it didn't blow up real big, but on home rental it really did. It blew up real big. And matter of fact, Kevin Bacon, who in an interview said that Valentine McKee would be one of the characters he'd love to go back and revisit and play again. He said that in his movies, when he does a character, he kind of moves on from it and doesn't really look behind. But that is one character he'd love to revisit it and maybe be in a future movie, which I wish he would, because his character was awesome. But Tremors 1 was just really good, man. And then about 6 years later, they did Tremors 2 Aftershock, which a lot of people that I talked to like that one more than the first one. The story is a little bit better. Kevin Bacon did not return in that one, but Fred Ward did at Earl's Bassett, and his partner in the movie is a kid named Grady. But the person that is in all of them that really keeps the franchise going is a character named Burt Gummer. He's like that uncle that used to be like a war veteran that's always waiting for the next, you know, the next thing to go wrong. He's got every gun, every booby trap. He's pretty much waiting for the world to fall apart, and then these worms come, and you know, everybody thinks he's crazy, but yeah, he's the first person they go to, him and his wife Heather. That's the person they go to when things start to fall apart. And throughout all the movies, Michael Gross, who does play Burt Gummer, does an amazing job, and he really keeps the franchise above. He really keeps the franchise going. Burt Gummer is just awesome. You know, Michael Gross is known for being the father in Family Ties, but I think besides that, this might be his other role, that he literally is known for. He does a great job in all the movies. So part two, it's called Tremors Aftershock. Like I said, I mean, a lot of people love this movie, and they actually have it just a little bit above part one, just because of the storyline. But I'd still rank it. I'll give a ranking in the future. I would still, a little spoiler here. I would still say Tremors the original is a little bit better. But part three, man, I tell you now, part three. So there's a total of 7 of these movies. Okay, obviously the first one was in the theaters, and then from 2 on, they were straight to DVD or straight to VHS. But part 3, it's called Tremors 3: Back to Perfection. There's something I love about this movie. Matter of fact, I just watched it I kind of like saw bits and pieces of it, but I finally got to fully watch it about a week ago, and it's got this familiarity, this consistency to it, that it's like putting on an old sweatshirt that I used to love. It goes back to perfection. It has the characters, a lot of the main characters from part 1. Miguel is in it. Nancy and Mindy, they're grown up now and they're older. Walter Chang's Market is around, and his granddaughter or his niece, I can't remember which one it is, either his granddaughter or his niece. I think it's his niece. She runs it now. Pretty much, she runs that market because I no spoiler here, but Walter Chang passed away, and he got taken in by one of the Graboids in part 1, and she kind of like runs the market now, and her character's in it. There's a guy named Jack in it. But what I love about it is it goes back to perfection, and it has all these characters that we all fell in love with. Melvin's in it. Melvin, the little brat, the little one that drives them friggin' nuts in part 1. I really love that part 2. Part 3. So like part 1, Tremors part 1, part 2, part 3 really have this nice trilogy, this nice three movies in a row that really make you feel like there's a lot of consistency throughout these movies, especially since they didn't go in the theaters or anything. But it's got a lot of familiarity and a lot of it just feels good watching these, especially 1 and 3. Unfortunately in 3, Fred Ward's not in it. Earl's not in it. Unfortunately, in general, we only get Fred and Earl. Earl and Val in only one movie, and that's Tremors 1. And I would have loved to see them one more time together, but unfortunately, Fred Ward passed away from, I believe it was dementia. Maybe a decade ago. It was a while ago, or maybe about 5 years ago. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. So I would have loved to see Kevin Bacon and him together one more time on screen. But it was great to get Kevin Bacon in part 1, and then to be able to get Fred Ward as Earl in part 2. So we got to see him for 2 movies, and then obviously Michael Gross's character Burt Gummer. We got to see him throughout the whole series. But something about those first 3 movies that I just absolutely love. So Tremors 1, Tremors 2, Aftershocks, and then Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. I would recommend those for any die-hard Tremors fan. I mean, you can go and watch all of them, but just something about those first 3 that just, man, it's like put on a warm blanket. Like I said, man, the familiarity with it is so great, and the continuity and the consistency they have together is just really great. So, but yeah, man, I wanted to come on and just talk briefly about Tremors. Absolutely love this movie from the 90s. It's a great comedy horror. Another thing that this movie does that's so good, besides the mixture of the comedy and the horror, is this movie is done during the day. Most horror movies and scary movies, they're done, in an old house or at nighttime where it's very spooky. These movies did something that a lot of other horror movies that try to don't do when they fail, is to be able to take the horror aspect and do it to you and show it to you during the day where the sun is out and it's bright out, and they did a great job at this. And this movie really, it's a cult classic. Tremors is one of the best series out there, best horror series out there. Like I said, man, I talked about the first 3 movies, but there are 4 more after that. And there actually was a TV show that I heard did pretty good. It had 1 season with 13 episodes. I never watched it, but Michael Gross did reprise his role of Burt Gummer in that, so I do want to watch it. It's on Tubi right now, so I am going to check that out. But But man, I'll tell you now, man, I love, especially with a lot of snow coming down and the cold winter nights, cold winter days. I love popping on my Tremors, my Tremors 6 movie collection and watching the first 3, and it's like I said, it's like putting a warm blanket on. It's absolutely great. So, all right, guys, let me head out of here. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna watch the next football game, the Chiefs and the Chiefs and the Bills. Go Chiefs! I want to see a 49ers Chiefs, 49ers Ravens Super Bowl. So we'll see what we get. But I hope you enjoy this, and tell me what you like about these movies. If you've seen these movies, they're cult classics. What do you think about them? Like and subscribe. And into the next video, man. Take care, man. Remember, man, God first and family. Take care.